I almost can't get through 5 sentences without throwing in a metaphor. Okay. Okay, so I want us to do some constellations, but it's not going to be student constellations at this point. This is another opportunity to try constellations in another format or the structural kind of thing. What I want us to do, we're going to do really short rounds. These are not resolution. These are seeing what is constellations, okay? So about 5 minutes each. And this is not going to be hurried. It's just there isn't a lot to it, okay? I'm going to basically facilitate, but there's not much to facilitate here. So what we're going to do is when it's your turn, you're going to just assign these roles. You're you, but the other roles to other people in the room. The roles are you. This is like we're going to constellate your relationship with a client in a sense. Okay. So the client, not a particular client, just a platonic ideal of your client. Okay. The representatives in that client is going to be represented by another person. The client's family soul is going to be another representative. The constellation itself, your ancestors, and then your hollow bone resource. If you don't know what that means, that's the point. You're not supposed to know. We're going to see what shows up in the field. Okay. So what we're curious about here is just seeing what this is like. How does this feel? This is for your learning for yourself. How does this feel to you? This, when these things are set up in the systemics of who you are. And then mostly we're curious about what changes when we bring in your ancestors as something present to you. And then what additionally happens when we bring in your hollow bone resource. Okay? So what we're up to here is looking at facilitator stance and how to continue to deepen and strengthen your facilitator stance and service to your clients. Does that make sense? Any questions about this or confusion? Jeff doesn't get it?
I'm not getting it.
You'll see one. You'll see one, and then you go, oh, that's what she meant. Okay? Other questions about this? Okay. So, and I am going to keep us moving forward in this. Okay? And so when it's your turn to choose these, please don't just sweat it. Sweat it. Just like, you be this, you be this, you be this, you be this. Just like make it really easy on yourself. You don't need to choose like, should Peter be my ancestors or should he be my client? Just don't sweat it too much. It'll come through. Okay?
So we're all going to be each one then.
We're gonna do 7 of these. 7 in a row, 5 minutes each. Okay?
Gosh.
We just want to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you can do. This is something you can do with constellations. Okay? So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Excellent. So assign the roles, and then I will kind of facilitate and bring y'all in.
Okay.
No, you're playing yourself.
Oh.
You're representing yourself.
Okay, I thought you had something for each one of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Is there 7?
Oh, that's
Yeah, there are
right.
7 of
Yeah,
us.
because you're you. That's one.
Right.
6. Yep.
Oh, there's 6 more.
Perfect.
Okay.
Client, representatives, family soul, constellation itself, my ancestors, and hollow bone resource.
And now you can forget about that, right? So just to formally start it, why don't you sit down again? And then we're just going to kind of go in order. Would you please step into your field as yourself? Just notice what you're feeling. And then would the client please enter the field and just find your place. And there can be movement, you may change your position. There's going to be mostly no talking, but I may ask for a report from time to time. Okay, representatives, come on in. And you just notice as each one comes in, what changes, if anything? What do you feel? What do you notice? client's family soul. Come on in. And then the constellation itself, please come on in. So Christina, let's just check in before we bring in the other two. Just in a sentence or two, how is this for you so far?
It's funny. I want to see them, and they want me to be in front of them.
Yeah.
And I want to be like this.
I feel very exposed.
That's the family soul, right?
Very shy. The constellation talk like it. That's very.
And the clients behind the family
Then there's
soul.
part of me that's like, yes, I will do this. Yes. So I'm having a little pull in both directions.
Interesting.
Okay. Let's bring in your ancestors now and see what happens when Christina's ancestors enter the space.
These are my ancestors.
Yes, your ancestors. And then let's bring in Christina's hollow bone resource from your place. And again, there may be adjustments. What are you noticing, Christina?
I like them here, but I want to be a little closer. But when I tried to step and I hoped the whole thing would move with me, it didn't. This feels pretty good.
Can you just say one sentence to your client? I need to stay close to them.
I need to stay close to them.
I can't get too far away from them.
I can't get too far away from them.
Yeah, when they stepped in, he was really scary before. Constellation without them was really scary. No, it's scary.
And then just briefly, if anyone else has a sentence of something that would be important for Christina to hear, not just because you want to share it, but you think that would be useful for Christina to hear about this.
I can trust you more when they are here.
It's safer. Feels safer when
And maybe it feels like there's less pull from you to have me guarding you. You seem more solid too.
I'm comfortable.
And just an observation, these two on the floor, the Constellation, the representatives, are at a good, like, they're smaller than everything else here. And that's appropriate. They have a place, but these are both temporary. Everything else isn't.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
that's right.
Mhm.
Nice noticing, yeah.
No, it's hers, but I'm just gonna reach out in that direction.
Okay, good enough for now?
Yeah.
Excellent, well done.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Got it now, Jeff? Yep. Next person.
I can go.
Excellent. So again, assign the roles.
Okay. Clients.
You know, that's not a bad idea because then everybody gets to experience a different role.
Yeah.
If you just do them all in a line.
Okay.
It's just
So
easier.
then start the line here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Client, representatives, family soul, constellations, constellation itself, my ancestors, hollow resource.
Okay, so have a seat, Amy. Okay, so come on in.
I'm looking at you already.
Well, then let's bring in the client. Okay. Let's bring in the representatives, please. Let's bring in the client's family soul, please. And the constellation itself, please. And as you're noticing, all of these will unfold differently. Arena, what are you noticing just at this point before we bring in the other two?
I'm scared of constellation when I'm like, where's my resources? It's like she came in and she's so big, and I'm so small, and I don't know if I can do this.
I don't know if it's helpful to share, but I kind of want to push this one out of the way and just run amok a little bit. But not in a bad way, in a place that's
True, from the representative.
We've never had that experience before. None of us have had ever experienced representatives running amok. Never. How about Arena's ancestors? Come on in. Let's see what happens.
Crap.
And then let's bring in Arena's hollow bone resource.
Doing a lot of love for this time. Almost like I get more support from her than my ancestors, so it's
The ancestors are wondering, what the hell is this?
Yeah, when this happened, I felt pulled towards you.
Arena, can you just say to your ancestors, with great simplicity, it's my work.
it's my work.
I can invite you with great simplicity and dignity. Just say, it's my work.
It's my work.
It's all, you know? Anything else that someone wants to contribute that you think it would be important for Arena to hear, useful for her?
I don't understand it, but it's okay.
Your power changed, starting with this one, and then grew immensely with this one.
So can you look at your ancestors and say, it may be new and different for you, but I need you in it anyway.
Maybe new and different for you, but I need you here anyway. And I'm going to bring you here. I need your support.
Can you say, I'm here anyway, whether you bring me or not?
I'm here whether you bring us or not. And we support you.
Now, Arena wouldn't be the first one doing things that the ancestors wouldn't recognize, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we still need their strength for it.
And I'm just a tool.
Yeah.
I'm just interconnected
Mhm.
tool here, so
You're the best tool.
I'm okay. I'm not
You're very
everything, but I'm
powerful,
pretty
yeah.
good.
I like, yeah, you were very powerful and scary before, and now you're just a tool.
Right.
You're very useful.
Good enough, Arena?
Yes,
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Good job.
Mwah, mwah.
So interesting.
Funny how that
That is
has taken on a different meaning.
Which one?
Okay,
Being
next
called a
person.
tool.
Oh.
I'm still going the same order, but yeah, okay. So I guess that makes her the client.
I was just the client, so we would
Oh, you
start
were?
there.
Well, we have to
Or-
go in order with
yeah,
this.
if
Yeah,
I start
so-
here, it'll work.
Okay,
as well.
I believe you guys.
So, you can find it?
I have.
Oh, shit.
And I've been
Here you are. All right. So, representatives. Please. The client's family soul. Constellation itself. And then ancestors. And my hollow bone resource.
You have a seat, and then you can stand up to formally start it. Okay, clients, come on in. Client, sorry.
Typical client.
Representatives, come on in. Let's make it a little messier. And the client's family sold, come on in.
Well, it was all fun and games until now.
Can you just say this is feeling like a lot?
It's feeling like a lot.
We're just hanging.
And then the constellation itself, come on in. These here, Peter, what are you noticing?
So I'm wanting to direct a little bit, which I may actually do in a second. Really happy when this one came in. Noticed a little bit of judgment. You shouldn't do things real quickly when that one came in. And then as soon as this one showed up, I felt like I just all of a sudden shifted into what I would normally consider my facilitator mode. I feel like I'm observing a little bit more. And then I just wanted to stand by this one for a minute. So, curious if there's a movement that I can facilitate here, and this is friendly.
I feel like you're not seeing.
I just get there.
So let's bring in Peter's ancestors.
Ooh.
I feel safer.
Just a lot to look at. So.
Yeah, I just feel way more grounded now.
Would you do me a favor? Would you mind?
So actually, I'm gonna ask her
Not do that.
not to do that,
Got it.
because I know you're actually the client right now of this constellation.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel really not seen. Like even if you look at me, you're still not seeing me, and I'm like.
And we want to see what happens when we bring in these resources,
Oh,
and
sure,
then
sure,
we want
sure.
to flex a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's
Fine.
just start out with how it is.
I was feeling really good about this one until that. I'm feeling a little,
Mm-hmm.
a little offended.
Yeah.
I'm a little angry now.
What?
I'm angry now.
Me too. Yeah.
And let's bring in Peter's Hollowbone resource, please.
Hearing all the anger over there is like,
I'll unfold a little bit more. And Peter, just because you can't see, you might peek just to see what the one behind you is doing. How are you? What are you noticing?
I feel a little destroyed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like flavors of like, can't do it right.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Again, if there are movements here, allow for the movements.
I felt myself being like, it's okay, I'll take care of you.
Well, yeah, no.
I never.
Well, and that's, what I would like for each one of you, and always for a client, is for the feeling of ease to arise from the constellation, right? The solution to arise from the feel.
Just feeling a little more challenging.
Yeah.
Started feeling really good, and then like everything. It's helpful to see this one. To feel this one. This one's. Thank you.
I feel it too.
All right. Feels a bit better. A lot better.
Yeah. Ancestors, can you say to Peter? Because the stripes are the ancestors, right?
No, this is my.
Oh, that's your Halabon resource.
resource.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. I had that confused. So give me a second
Yeah,
to
so-
recalibrate.
No, that's right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, from the ancestors. Say, Peter, I know what you're experiencing. Can you just do that, phrase? Or some version of that feels right. I know. We're with you. And were you trying to be bigger with this?
Yeah, there was a feeling.
Let's pull in the chair, the one with the blue. Just pull it in a little bit where you were standing, or wherever seems right. Let's get you up on the chair. There we go.
That's more like it.
How's that for you, Peter?
I feel a little concerned that it's bigger than everything else in the system.
Probably is.
Well, this is like my ancestors. What I want is for the client to have whatever it is this is like feels. I don't want this to be bigger than what's up for the client. That's what I'm feeling.
It actually is, though. That's interesting.
Would you say that the constellation is basically the field right now?
I don't
The
know.
constellation itself is the field? This person is the field?
The constellation's the constellation for
Yeah.
the constellation. It's the service for, yeah.
Cool.
So I'm gonna invite you and everybody else to stay in the role and don't try and interpret the whole thing too much. I know it's a little bit of a temptation. Yeah. Clients represent, your ancestors, right? Clients, family soul.
So,
How are you?
I'm good. Slightly detached, but sympathetic, and just kind of wondering how you liking your choice.
And what is, so without the all that sort of stuff, what's the actual experience for you? And by the way, you really liked it when the hollow bone came in? Was that what you were reacting to, or to the ancestors? I'm sorry, I got confused in my own brain about that.
When the ancestors came in.
And you got really grounded and safer, and that felt really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how's the constellation doing now?
So when Halloween came in, I'm not angry anymore. It became not about me, and I wanted to just like control my a little bit. And I'm not angry. I'm sympathetic towards him. I'm not how he's like see me.
Right. And how are you doing, Peter?
I am. The words in my mind are like holding on for my life. Is what it feels like a little bit to this one here, and also feeling like really not sure how to help, like how to be of service, and confused by a lot of this.
Can you say that to that one about the I don't know how to be of service? Say it to all the rest of us will like go like this, pretend we're not hearing. It's a private thing between Peter and his hollow bone resource in a sense. And then hollow bone come in with a really, I may not have the right words for it exactly, but I want some version of saying yay to that. Like not knowing how it is exactly what you like. And I don't know if that will land in a friendly way, so I want to be very gentle here.
What's coming to me is be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing it's okay.
Yes, ancestors.
So much to give you.
Can you say, I'm here before and I'm here after him? Or that one? You're here before that one and the client? You'll be here before the client and you're here after the client.
Yes. Right? I am here before the client and will be here after the client.
And client, can you just look at his ancestors since you kind of liked them? Can you say to the client, I'll be here before you and after you?
We'll be here before you and after you.
Good. Thank you.
And then just to seal this little deal, will you stand on here? And you just look at each other the ancestors. These are sort of the answers. I'm going to call it the family soul, but basically we're talking about the client's ancestors. Yeah. And you can also say, I'll be, could you guys look at each other? You just say, I'll be here before you and after you.
I'll be here before you and after you.
And look at the client and say, I'm here before Peter and after Peter.
I'm here before Peter and after Peter.
That's good too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then these two are temporary. Good enough for now, Patrick? Given we've kicked up some stuff? Okay. Okay. Thank you all for writing your rapport ponies. As one of our teachers once put it, Michelle Masters.
What kind of ponies?
Rapport.
Rapport.
Rapport, which is the pace part.
Oh.
Which I'm so this is always if you do workshops and you do these little mini constellations and you think, well, just do a bunch of these real fast.
Yeah, right.
And then 2 or 3 of them will kind of be like that, and then one will just be it'll be about something larger, both for the person and for the group. Right? And so you just have to slow down and be with it a little bit. Okay? Here's what I would like to recommend. So we went through 4, right?
3?
3?
Three.
We only did 3?
Three.
Okay, so here's what I would like to do is just do the other ones after lunch. Okay? Okay. Is that okay with people? Yeah. What I want to do before lunch is a student-facilitated constellation. Do we need a 5-minute?
I'm gonna
Just
pee real quick.
Yeah. Let's have this is not a 15-minute one. It's more of a 5-minute one. Okay. Good. Thank you.
While we're waiting, can I ask you what would
So,
Yes, that would have been a good conversation.
I
I try to move out of the way, but it's following me.
okay. Thank you. So, now that I'm observing a little bit, before someone gets chosen, I just want to invite you to do one thing before you start. You know, once you guys are sitting up here and you're kind of settling in and you're about to say, what's up to the person, it is permissible for you to take care of yourself first. So we've got you all up here, we've got you, the facilitator, we've got the client, I'm sitting and I'm, shutting up. And it's all right for you to sit there and do what you like to do, whether it's like this or whether you need a moment or two to center yourself, to notice how you're feeling, to just take care of yourself. Just really focus in on yourself and take care of yourself. There's no pressure. I mean, obviously, please don't take 10 minutes doing that. But take a moment, because it will help your process if you've taken care of yourself for just a second, centering yourself, whatever it is you like to do, before you turn to the fellow student and say, what's your thing? Or however you like to say it. Yeah, that's the way I say it.
What's your thing?
Yeah. Okay, so my dears, who would like to facilitate and who would like to receive? So let's start with facilitator. Just raise your hand real high if you would like to facilitate.
Yeah, there you are.
Well, there we go. I go so amnesic on this stuff. You didn't facilitate yesterday, right? You were a client. Okay. And then who would like a constellation before lunch? Everybody, we got 2. Excellent. So again, just a 1 sentence. This is not an interview. We just want to feel for what it is. What's the thing you want to look at?
It's a career thing. Look, the job I have, the job I'm going for, and the job I actually really want are all 3 different things.
You almost just set up the constellation. That was so system. I mean, we could all feel the system of it. It was just awesome. Okay, and Jeff?
Well, I guess you could call it performance anxiety, but it's more specific than that. It only occurs, I only notice it if I have to do something and I don't feel like I really know how to do it in front of a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And that can get very, very intense.
Okay. Thank you.
Fortunately, I can deal with it. I can go tap on it, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little bit more than the normal performance anxiety that we all share here. Is what you're
Probably.
saying. Yeah. Okay. Or you want to check that out as well. Okay. So I'm going to leave it to you. You're going to facilitate. So do whatever you like to do. And if you need my help, ask my help. But this is part of the process, is choosing clients.
I'll go Christina.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you said
boom,
that.
boom.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
Easy,
Check
easy, watch.
Yeah, famous last
Bring
words.
it in for just a moment, just acknowledge check.
Definitely.
You'll be next or somewhere down the road soon. Oh, and there is one other thing I want to say. You guys can be settling yourselves. This is something I'm going to teach more formally on. But one of the things that I just invite us to remember, it depends upon the lineage, how much focus you got on this in your training. Many of us got no focus on it at all. But please develop the practice, at least try it here, of regularly checking in with your client. So obviously you're checking in during the interview, that's a done deal. But during the constellation, every once in a while, literally coming down and sitting down and saying, how you doing? It keeps you in a relationship with the client during the process, and then when you're all done, before you turn it back over to me, just say, how are you? Okay? It's just kind of good client care sort of thing. And they can give you just in like, I'm freaking out right now. Oh, good to know. This is useful information for your facilitation, right? Or when she moved over there, I feel so much better. Oh, that's good to know, right? That kind of thing. So just a little bit of a thing to practice a little bit, because I don't know about you, many of us can start to facilitate, get into the constellation and forget that there's this person over here having this experience, right? So checking in is important. Particularly if you're the type who likes to get up and go into the constellation as opposed to facilitating from your seat, which some people do more of. Okay. Over to you, Arena.
Okay. So tell me more about the July for the results of the constellation.
What I would like as a result. Clarity about what I'm actually doing, because I have a sense that what I'm doing is not as simple as the steps that I lay out, that there's actually a lot behind it. So teasing that apart more so I can be more clear and aware of myself.
And it's your question is about next career stuff, is that right? Or could you tell me more about what you're asking?
So for many years, I just got lucky. I was a working artist. I, got to be really creative in my work. And then for a while, I was a therapist. And that was also very creative, although that was a tough haul. And at some point, I just kind of had this real shift in what I wanted for my life. And that was, I just felt like I was not grounded. I was not resourced, I was not getting my needs met. I was just kind of doing this thing because I went to the school and they taught me out and they said, this is what you do next. And I was kind of following it. And I was like, this was never what I wanted. So I was like, I want a job. And I had this fantasy of, I just want a desk that's my desk, and my stuff is always there. See, even this is kind of emotional.
What are you feeling?
When to talk about that desire, emotion welled up. Because I know that's a throwaway, a desk is really nothing in your life. But what it meant of security and kind of getting my feet under me,
Yeah, and your place.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to depend on myself and feeling safe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to make that career change and got into like nonprofit management. I got my desk. But then, you know, of course, like I wasn't really that happy there. It was not creative. I was working under a boss who like had certain expectations that I didn't necessarily agree with. And I was doing this job that felt kind of meaningless, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, I started floating like every year or two into a new one,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And at first it would start out, I'd be really excited. And then it's kind of like, it starts to be a slog.
Mm-hmm.
And I start realizing like, I don't care if I show up at work and do the job, you know, or if I don't.
You stop caring about the job.
It wasn't meaningful. Yeah. Not like art or therapy is, where you feel like you're making an impact,
Yeah.
or at least expressing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right
now I'm in a position where I'm tired of the job. You know, there's a new one on the horizon. It actually seems a lot better for a lot of reasons. It's like closer to home. It's a little more money. It's, you know, an interesting company. So I'm excited about it, and I'm like, yes, let's do this. I want this job.
Mm-hmm.
And a little part of me is like, this is just your cycle still,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're still doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I do it, it's like a little better.
In the beginning?
Or just like, it's a little more money, or it's a little bit more of an interesting company, or, you know. So I'm like, maybe one day I will actually land into one of these that's actually fulfilling. But I also, part of me has doubts.
Mm-hmm. Will this ever happen?
Like, part of me is like, the only way you're going to really feel fulfilled or like your work is meaningful is push away the need for the desk, you know, and just, you have to create it. It's the only way. If you want to be creative, you have to create it. But that is so daunting, you know. I'm just like, no, I just got the ground, you know.
But safety feels very important. But stability.
Yeah.
And how you feeling?
I just feel like I kind of barfed it out, and there it is.
Yeah. Are you feeling relieved, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's emotional. It was emotional to deliver the story, and I feel like, okay, it's out there.
Okay.
So a little relief.
Okay. So let's take a deep breath again.
Does anyone know where the tissues got hidden, just so we know where they are?
Oh, they're probably.
Excellent, perfect. Yeah. Just want to make sure they're.
This one.
Thank you.
So we'll transition now to constellation space. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And so go ahead and choose a representative for yourself.
Okay.
Just you didn't say anything. Can you just end by about 12:50 or so?
Okay.
Gimme. Thank you.
And now choose a representative for the desk. The job, you know, the metaphor.
Will you be the desk? Thank you.
And place them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
May I move you? Put you here. And then kind of like there. A little more like that.
So representatives, are you just feeling to your body? What are you feeling? if you need to move, you can move. You're welcome to say how you're feeling if you feel it's relevant.
I feel rigid, locked like a statue.
Mm-hmm. How you feel towards desk representative?
Not even really noticing that one.
Can't hear it?
Not noticing that one.
Okay.
I'm just kind of looking at the board over there.
Mm-hmm. And you feeling, you said rigid.
I feel like my body's frozen. Like I'm absolutely like paralyzed right now.
Thank you. And how are you?
I'm just here.
You feeling? You're just
I'm not really feeling anything. I'm just
here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Fire.
Yes. Okay.
So,
And what's that roll? I'm sorry.
oh,
Or is it blind?
it's blind.
Oh, that's fine. I just thought you had announced it and I didn't hear.
You feel towards
Talking
him first, and
to you.
mm-hmm. I'm checking in with his reaction to when you clear.
I kind of feel like I'm sort of aware of that one, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And my attention is on a spot right on the floor right there.
Okay.
But I can't tell if I'm looking at something or avoiding looking at them.
I see. And how are you? Did anything change with her coming
I don't know. I'm still interested, like, I'm still kind of focused on this dynamic. And, like, it's interesting because this was something that I wanted,
in?
but then this, like, has no real connection. They're not connected.
Yeah, he's not really interested. In
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably true. This was just kind of a stand-in for a bigger want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a certain element of dissociation that keeps coming up with the role.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's definitely something else going on here.
Yeah. Do you have any trauma history?
I mean,
Yeah, just don't.
yeah.
Are you human?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, big stuff is just.
Yeah.
Somebody
I
said
mean, I had a
dissociate.
hard childhood.
But like any physical?
No, not really.
Okay. Check. And how are you, Jendi?
I'm not really feeling pulled to any of this. Just kind of trying to stretch my wings somehow.
You're not interested by any.
Not pulled.
Not pulled. Okay.
No, not looking down, not nothing. Whatever that was. But
Okay. Guy, can I?
Yeah.
And can you sit on the floor?
Sure. Facing a particular direction.
Peter. Just at this spot. I think here. Was it this spot for you?
I'm here now.
You're here? Okay.
I can't levitate.
Yeah. Just checking this out if this was
Okay.
something. So let me know if you're feeling a shift of him coming in.
Yeah, I kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I just went like super rigid again the other direction, staring at the ceiling. Save me. Some feeling of that. Save me. Like I could be on like my knees doing something like that. And I feel slightly less rigid. I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking.
Okay.
There's
You're just kind of confused.
I don't know which of these is yeah.
Is it like confusion? Not sure what it's supposed to be.
It's like it's that dissociation piece again.
Dissociation,
I just keep like I'm here and then I'm not, and then I'm here
Mhm.
and then I feel like I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
and then something happens and I go somewhere else, and then I'm here
Mhm.
and then I'm like pulled out, and then I'm here
Mhm.
and then I'm what's going on, and then I'm like
Okay.
this weird sort of jumbly kind of experience right now.
And how are you?
Unsettled about that.
Unsettled is a good way to put it.
You feeling present and
I feel present right now. Yes. I mean, I could relate to that, some level of dissociation coming in and out of presence. I'm not sure who these are, although this one may be my child. Is that
I don't know.
okay?
We just seemed like there was a spot he was looking at, so like,
Looking at that one now.
yeah, could be. Do you wanna?
Yeah, I don't usually do this or say this, but I kind of feel like I'm,
Okay. Why don't you come in? Do you feel like you need to come in?
I sort of feel like I'm in it. Yeah.
Yeah, come in.
I have a theory as to what I might be, but I don't know.
How are you feeling?
I'm just, I'm feeling pretty, just, pretty comfortably dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my feelings about this one are a little conflicted. I kind of want to kick it,
Mm-hmm.
but not like a mean way. But there's a little bit of like,
Like it's in the way?
I don't. That doesn't resonate particularly. But it's got most of my attention. I feel more focused when I look at it, for sure.
Uh-huh.
I am aware of this one, but I just kind of can't look at it right now.
Okay.
This is right here.
Mm-hmm. And how about the blind representative?
I feel slightly uncomfortable when I look at that
Yeah.
one. I'm kind of like, well, I can look at it, which is good. Let's see.
You can.
I can, and now I'm like, well, what happens when I actually look at it? It's a little tinge of sadness,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little resignation. Kind of like, okay, you're here. Fear. There's a little bit of fear that just popped in.
And you turned around, so you're feeling anything?
Yeah, that's just the representative wanting to see what's going on. There's
Okay.
nothing.
Nothing,
There's
okay.
really nothing to that.
Could you look at deaf representative and say, you cannot give me what I want?
No, I don't want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming up if you think about saying that?
I start to get really sad. It's like, there's a way in which that is so much easier than this. Or I wish it could be.
It's hard.
It's like over a mountain of whatever this is. I can't even get to it from here.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, this particular. I feel like I can just see all like different facets of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna have your ancestors behind you as a support. So they can- How is that?
Weird. I feel my body feels really different. Like weird stuff with my back just happening right now. Glad they're doing whatever they're doing.
What's your relationship to?
No. Well, this one felt like a partner of some kind, like a companion partner, something close. Maybe I wouldn't say like relationship partner, but I felt like a camaraderie with this one. I'm gonna please keep doing it. I like that this one is sort of talking to that one because it takes a bit of the feeling of pressure off.
Okay. He's like, she's busy with.
Well, it's like they're connecting, and so somehow I feel safer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have some ideas about these two.
How are you feeling?
Well, related to the ideas I have, I would say I'm feeling slightly more hopeful.
Okay. And Genevieve and Genevieve, how are you doing?
Well, we know each other pretty well. We accept each other in some way. Yeah, and client's not really paying us a lot of attention. But,
Yeah.
it's okay. In a way.
Are you okay with client not paying attention to you?
Well, gotta go where the happy is.
And Amy?
I'm not sure I feel like a person.
Yeah.
This one just looks really fun. It just makes
You
me
guys
smile.
enjoying?
So yeah. I definitely wanted him to see me.
Then you're looking at.
I just want to hit him with this.
Really?
Totally. Like the word is bash. The word bash. It feels pretty intensely.
Why?
I don't know.
Just. Guy, you okay? Sleeping?
I don't have a story about that. I just have a feeling.
It's not anger.
Maybe anxiety. Like there's almost like I want to smash a bug kind of a thing. But it's a little more than that. I'm holding. I mean, the ancestors would be here, but I'm holding it. Yeah, there's like definitely like a kill it kind of energy.
What?
I mean, I have ideas about that.
And I don't think it's any accident that he's holding the ancestors to do it.
Mm.
I mean, I could tell you what I think this is, but
What this?
I like feel exterminatory. I have like definitely like wouldn't be surprised if there's any sort of like genocidal kind of, you know, Holocausty maybe sort of energy kind of running around in here.
Okay.
Um,
And what do you think?
Yes. Although I wasn't envisioning this particular interaction as like as the Holocaust attack.
no.
Although that is part of my family lineage. This feels, I was thinking maybe more like the part of me that wants to give up. And then it is no surprise to me that armed with my ancestors, I'm going to kill that feeling because there's an expectation that, you know, we achieve.
I don't have any information about that.
Can you say to this part, I see you?
I guess I have to. I obviously am looking at it. I see you. Part of that admires how well it's resting right now.
Exactly. Because it's like, wouldn't it be nice to just
Kill it?
relax? But then like hating that part.
Again, I don't really have much of a connection to that. I don't see this as a part or separate from, or an aspect of me. This feels like an other,
Okay.
which may be perfect then.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever your experience is, but that's what it was like.
So can you look at Dusk representative now and say
Whoa.
you can
Just the fact that there's something else than that.
and say that you cannot give me what I need.
You cannot give me what I need. And this is here, it takes up all my attention. All of it.
Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe there's something I don't know.
Guy, how are you doing? Resting? I don't really know what to do.
What are you most curious about?
This part.
You are permitted to wake up your
Okay.
representative a little bit.
Okay. Guy, can you sit up a little? Look at. Could you look at client's representative?
I kind of feel like I'm looking past this one. It's a little out of focus. Where's focus?
So I have no idea what I am.
It's okay. Can you tell? I'm glad you're here.
That one was there to me.
You.
You can't say that?
No, I can't say that.
Did you say I see you already? Did you say I see you?
I see you.
Can you say I wish you were not here?
I wish you were not here,
But you are.
but here you are.
Here you are.
Well, sometimes I wish you were not here. It's really difficult to have you here.
It's really difficult.
You're you're here, it's hard for me to look at other places.
Hmm.
I understand.
Now I'm feeling like I'm glad this one's here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to hold them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good bashing.
I would like to know what this is.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. It's like, do we ask him? I mean, I would ask him like, what do you feel here? But then thinking I'm trying to elicit.
You can always ask a question like that and
Yeah.
then ignore,
Okay.
like, try things.
Okay.
This is
Okay. Yes.
try
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Try
What do
things.
you? How do you? Feel? What do you think you are? You're like a
Release the facilitator.
Are you a person? Are you part of?
Well, I'm definitely something dead.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't quite. At first, I thought maybe I was a dead like child or a miscarriage or maybe an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, I feel awful heavy, like more than a person's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So that has me think maybe I'm not a person. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I haven't seen it.
yeah.
Removing yourself.
Just really tired of being. I feel really pervy in here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really tired of feeling that way. So I'm just gonna go over here.
As in a perpetrator?
Yeah.
Like I just keep.
Jenny, how you doing?
Well, I was standing between him and that,
Mm-hmm.
her and that, and going, well,
Could you look at
I
God?
don't. I'm sorry.
Look at God and
Oh.
yeah. See it.
I wasn't there
Mm-hmm.
when this happened. I heard about it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still looking around for a way on,
Mm-hmm.
way forward. And, but I'm glad to be able to get between them
Mm-hmm.
and just check out the whole thing. Kind of world shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Intact curiosity or something.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel for clients representing?
Well, I feel sorry that there's so much emotion and guilt or pain here, and but I'm functioning in spite of that. So I'm here. I can still feel where the happy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you feeling, Amy?
I lose energy when this one doesn't see me.
Mm-hmm. Just come a little closer. Just say you don't have to carry all this. Amy, to Peter.
I can say it, but it doesn't feel like it belongs to me.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Okay. You don't have to carry all this.
I don't have that connection to that
Mhm.
particularly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling kind of checked out again, a bit fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting feels good. Still aware of that one, but it's better to have this one here for sure because it's. I don't know if it's protecting me from that or not me or it from me, but it feels helpful. I'm feeling just kind of tired and sad.
Mm-hmm. How are you?
I mean, I'm making meaning of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wanting to know, you know.
Yeah, totally. Look what this is
And what each of them represent. And I mean, I have some ideas, and it seems like based on those, I feel like the interactions are happening correctly.
right. Well, Genevieve, I brought her forward to represent something because you were trying to get something from desk that you couldn't give yourself, brought in a figure that could give you that. Or for some reason you're not interested in. Like there's no, all your attention is here.
I feel like Genevieve, for a while, I felt like she was the duty to do these more professional jobs. And then she kind of evolved into my mother.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the two are connected. So
Yeah. Okay.
And it would make total sense for her to be standing in between me and whatever this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I felt she's your mother too. That I feel like there's a part of you.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think that's the creativity that I've
lost. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you don't see her or don't nourish her, she's gonna lose her energy. And she's there to support you. And this, I feel like it's big. And I feel like I want to bring like more stuff, but I don't just feel like maybe it's peaceful another time. Like this feels, yeah.
So as you've been talking, and this one came over and put its head on my knee.
Uh-huh.
When you said this one was creativity, something shifted.
Uh-huh.
And I started to come back into focus.
Okay.
And things started to feel a little bit brighter and lighter, which is really good.
And as we're talking, this is beginning to feel like my story.
Okay. Can you sit right against him and look like so you
Forward. Across, you mean?
across?
Yeah.
Yeah, like here, so you can just look at him.
Okay.
So there's my whole child. You said something with the child.
I thought it was part of my child. Yes.
Your inner child.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell him I see you?
I see you.
Thank you.
How do you feel towards Clint's mom?
This is Clint's mom. Okay. Feel neutral.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
Sense of responsibility, but not guilt.
Mm-hmm. Could you say, I wish I could have seen you before?
Before what? Now?
Mm-hmm. Or when you were little.
I wish I could have seen you when I was little. Is more what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like a cousin, like we're closer in age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel like a person. I don't think. I just feel like a lot of death.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of just. I mean, not grumpy death. Just dead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could you just say, could you say to him, I love you? And if it doesn't feel right, then tell me that.
Well, hard because it's not a single you, but I love you. All of you.
Thank you.
Good. I think that this diet is right. Like
Mm-hmm.
my mother and her experience and the history, the ancestors being right there. It's actually a trio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling this one is not integrated, but it's actually important.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was the security that I desired.
Yeah.
So while this is a nice connection here, I feel like it would be more honest to bring this one into.
Yeah.
Or
Well, he represented security. He's actually cannot give you security, or at least that was my
right.
kinda.
But since we did name two of them, but all the rest of them have kind of evolved. So I guess this one has evolved for me too.
Oh, I see.
Although I think the desk was many things.
Yeah.
It was security. It was safety. It was. It was going in a direction that cost me my creativity.
Right.
But
and maybe there's something more between these two and how he plays out, basically.
I feel like I can't sacrifice him entirely.
Yeah. He's important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Peter, can you look at desk representative and creativity and say to each of them, I need you both. So look at Amy first and creativity first, say I need you.
It's totally on manual. I'm kind of deep in something. But
Oh, okay.
I both me. Just a heads up.
Yeah.
Like I need you each of them. Like.
Yeah, I need both of you.
I need you. I need you. I need both of you.
Maybe it's in his proper place, which is he got in front of her, and that was a problem. You shouldn't be in front of her.
Having a hard time telling who's facilitating right now.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
So I see you have some resistance to saying to
It
Jeff.
just doesn't feel true.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Let's just end it with that. Yeah.
I keep wanting to say, I don't have anything to give you,
Yeah.
more than what I have.
Okay. Let's just end with that because of time. Is it okay to waste it? And just information for you and for the work. Okay. All right. Clients, or representatives, you can now step out of your roles. And Peter,
Yes.
would you come to?
Sure.
Yeah. And, to the campaign.
Oh, I cheer.
Thank you.
You just briefly check in with the client.
How are you?
How
are you? I already took the test.
No.
I'm good. I think that that teased apart some things and challenged some of my expectations. And I think I come up against that a lot with preconceived notions or expectations, and then to not have them fit is like, wait, what? It was a challenge for me at first to not know who the majority of the representatives were, but that also gave a kind of flexibility that allowed the constellation to kind of morph. So in the end, that was useful. Although I did spend time going, well, what are they then? Yeah. But I kind of like, as our brains do, just made the dots connect.
Okay. Thank you. So once again, our little process here, followed up by some teachings from me. And you get to start.
Thank you. Yeah. Definitely
So,
experience.
how can you appreciate yourself? And then any content pieces.
And content. Okay, so I appreciate myself. I stay pretty in it without thinking too much. Actually, I was very comfortable with not knowing what's going on, but just letting it unfold. I appreciate myself for that. And content pieces, or I wondered, or what I wish happened. Can I integrate that, positive and negative side? That I felt stuck moving towards resolutions and finding right healing sentences. Like now I see it, but now what? Kind of that was uncomfortable.
Okay. And that's usually the point. I mean, who here gets uncomfortable when you don't know? You sort of see the picture of it, but you don't know what to do next. Sure. That's the moment where I'm like, I'm never gonna find it, and I'm gonna fail the client completely. Right? And then I go there.
Yeah.
Good lesson. Okay.
So
yeah.
But then I feel kind of paralyzed in that, I don't know what to do. I wanna help. I wanna resolve it, so that there's this need to make things happen and
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna say a few words about that when we're all done. But that's the place. That's the hard place. I'll just go around like this. What you can appreciate about the facilitating, and I wonder.
Well, I appreciate your willingness to learn, to just, be open to the experience. And I appreciate your desire to serve. And I felt like you had a pretty good connection with Christina. I'm actually not sure if I can think of any wonderings right now. So,
If some come by the end, let us know.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I kind of went, but I appreciate you being with me there, and
I felt heard, you know. I wonder, well, I mean, I wonder about my life, you know. It brought up more questions as well as insights. And I think that's just, that is what it is. So thank you.
Hi. I really appreciate you, like you, how you show up, the energy of like connecting with you, and like I felt very comfortable as a representative with you as a facilitator. It felt comfortable, and that was nice, because even when the role was uncomfortable, like representative was feeling like okay, all things considered. I do wonder what it would have been like had the dialogue between you and the client was less heard by the representative, because it made it it had an impact on the feeling of, and it's hard to tell, right, because it was messy in myself, of like, is this the representative who's hearing stuff and feeling things? Is it the role that's like, it got a little, like I couldn't quite tell what was happening in those moments. So just wondering, you know, if that was kept quiet or not heard, like what that experience would have been like for the representative.
Yeah, I wonder about the same, because I wanted to process with Christina, and then I also wondered how appropriate. Yeah, that was.
I'm going to say a few words about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good learnings in that part of the constellation for all of us. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm kind of finding words hard, either because I was recently dead or because I'm hypoglycemic. So yeah, I'm just kind of I don't know that I have anything to say right now. Sorry.
That's fine. No requirement.
Thought the interview was really beautiful. And there was a lot of emotion coming at you right away. So that was a lot to process and then turn into a constellation. And you didn't do a bumpy jump from one to the other. It was just like, okay, I think you took it in and responded compassionately, and then it was like, now we know where to go, and you just went. And I was like, that's cool. It was good. I don't have to shift hats here. From the empath to the director. So, and let's see. When I finally got down on the floor to face the dead, I wondered if there was a way to stimulate the dead, and that I couldn't do, and I don't know if you could, but into saying more, to reveal more, because there is so much energy around this dead hot lump. Yeah. So anyway,
The dead have a place.
oh yeah,
Stimulated that.
right. I mean, this wasn't a very peaceful dead exactly. It had a kind of a magnetic drag down.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know how
yeah.
to do, like what to do with it quite, like
right.
it
And
felt big.
I just wondered if there was a way, and I didn't know what it would be.
I
but,
wondered the same.
but good job. Yeah.
Well, I appreciated the way you seemed to be in control, despite what may have been going on inside. I don't know, and didn't. You just seem to have it together, and you're just doing your thing, and I thought that was great. I do have a genuine wonder is how specific, when you sign a role, how specific you have to be. In other words, you said you're a desk. I felt like a desk. I'll go with.
I think
So if you,
That's really good. I'll address that a little bit, because yes, that's another teaching moment.
so as opposed to you be the desk that represents security,
Security,
or
yeah.
something like
That's
that.
what I heard it's implied.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
she has
sitting
a
there thinking,
question.
well, is that
Yeah.
what she's implying? But I don't know.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
Okay, good questions, everybody.
So I did have a
Yeah,
thought
sure.
come up, and I'm not sure like whether I should put it in terms of things I think for myself or how to put
Just
it
say
in.
I wonder and then launch.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wonder whether I'll remember to ask myself when I'm facilitating, like, what's being excluded.
And what have I been roped into excluding by the system? Yeah. Yeah. It's a constant energetic temptation. And yeah, it's worth asking ourselves throughout the process. Okay, so a few things. Lovely, and then we'll go off to lunch. So let me just start out with the technical things. Yeah, please, yeah. The technical things. First of all, I just want to say, you came in, Jean-Vie summarized it really well technically. You came in your full weight, your proper weight. And that, I think, felt good to everybody. You had a sense of, I'm here, I know enough about what to do, let's dive in. And I think that felt good to the system. So, and even when you got to the place where you were more rocky with yourself, I don't feel like you abandoned your weight. You were struggling, but you didn't abandon your weight. So I just want to name that for people like are wondering, what does proper weight feel like? That was a decent role modeling for that. Technical thing, when Christina started doing all that crying about the desk and all that stuff, that is, I know you knew it because you're a therapist, so you noticed it, I'm sure, is that's our tip-off. We're not talking about desks and work, right? If a client's gonna bring that much emotion, we're in the space and we're projected onto work is a lot of bigger stuff that's not about work. And that's what work's there for most of the time. As Carl Buchheit, one of our teachers, says, whatever you have unfinished with your parents, you either marry or work for or both. Hence, we have job security as facilitators. Okay, so you're like, oh, we're about something bigger, right? There's something there. Okay. Technical healing sentences. You'll get better and better with healing sentences, but reading and rereading Love's Hidden Symmetry or watching his videos is a great way to start anchoring some good healing sentences. But a good healing sentence is, kind of what's been excluded or upside down. The two that were coming to me in that moment when you asked Jean-Vie to say I love you were I hold you in my heart to whatever guy was representing, and you belong to me, which is a correction to Christina's system, which is wanting to say it's about her. Right?
Yeah.
Me, right? So anyway, but you'll get more and more of these, and you'll get more and more fluid with them. But sometimes reading and these things can help you. Like as you're going along, when you hear one, like I got 3 or 4 more out of Stefan Hausner's. I said, oh, that one goes in the quiver. So when you hear one you really like, do what you need to do to kind of anchor it a bit. And then the other technical thing I just want to say about, 2 more technical things. Working with genders and pronouns and names of your representatives. It was also something I wanted to say to you, Guy, yesterday, because you always said, the representative of the mother of, I don't even remember who you were working for. Find a good, simple, direct, clear way to address your representatives. By and large, particularly when you're talking to the representative for the client, you probably don't want to use the name of the representative. And you want to use the gender of the role. So in that one, Peter was a she. It just helps. It keeps things tidy. Will the sky fall if you don't? No, it won't. We don't need to be precious about this. But just sort of simple saying, Mom, how are you? Father, World War II, how are you doing? You know, and then you're using less words and it's really clear who you're talking to. And then how do you feel about her if the role is her, not if the representative is her, right? That sort of thing, okay? And again, don't get fussy about it. But things will not break if you don't do that, but it does help to have some routines around it. And then the last technical thing I just want to say, because it just came up in the conversation here, the dead were actually the peaceful dead as far as I could tell. The problem was not with the dead. It's about the living not being okay in some way, not having resolved or integrated or dealt with the dead, right? Sometimes the dead are a mess. They're still writhing on the ground,
Right.
or they're blaming the living, or what kinds of things, and then you have a problem to address with the dead. But mostly it was like something's unintegrated about the dead with the living, is what was coming through for me. Now, these go into the space of my wonderings. There are 2 or 3, one more technical thing here. This is just, you heard me say it to Arena, so I say it to all of you. When you're sitting here and you're thinking, can I ask the representative? No one's waiting to give you permission. Just go ahead and try the things you want to try. If you're like, oh man, I wish I hadn't asked the representative that, then you can go back. But try the things you're wanting to try. This is not the place for you to self-censor yourself. So if you want to bring in something that feels a little wacky, try it. If it doesn't work, we'll all go, ooh, that was a great failure. That was awesome. Thank you. Right? So try not to self-censor too much. Try and be in your freedom. It's like release the hounds, release the facilitator.
I was gonna say it's a growing age for me because
Yeah.
sometimes I just want things to happen. And I'm like,
Right.
if he needs to rise, he'll rise, and then I don't want to be too controlling, but then I don't like act.
Right.
You know, I just like breathe. So that's
And there are times to say, you know what, I'm gonna let this come through on its own.
Okay.
There's certainly a place for that.
yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah. But there was one point where you said to me, oh, thank you, I needed the permission.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so, okay. Sorry, my notes get to be a little. So in terms of the interaction with the client, it's especially a danger in crowds like this, but it can happen with any client. It's such an interesting balancing thing, and it's not easy between remaining the facilitator and staying in charge, aka not ceding facilitation to the client, because the client's going to facilitate from their projections, right? However, there are times the client has the piece you need. So you don't want to just say, shut up, I'm the facilitator either. That's, you know. So it's a balance. But it's a tricky balance. When I'm checking in with the client, I do give them some guidance about what information for me is helpful. And I do want to invite them out of the facilitator role if they're tempted into it, because they kind of can't facilitate. But they do have valuable information. They really do. So the thing that I find is often helpful is I want to know how you're feeling, particularly when things feel better or worse, when you relax or when you get more tense. Because that tells me, that becomes a barometer, a really useful barometer for me. And then they know to pay attention to their bodies rather than their thought stream about stuff. Secondarily, I may need to check in about a biographical detail, which is really left brain, right? But for instance, one question I was aching to ask is the Holocaust up mom's side? And then she can just say yes or no to that, right? So sometimes, or you may, whatever questions, it's like, it seems like we may have a dead baby. Are there any dead babies? You know, I mean, just a little bit of, you might need a little bit of information like that. if the client seems to be on, like, I've really got to share something, then, pace, lead. Let them share it with you. But you do want to help them not fall into the facilitator role, because it not only does it interfere with your process, but it's not actually helpful for them, right? What's useful for them is to stay in the flow of the constellation, even if it's insanely uncomfortable, rather than try and figure out if they were in charge, how would they be running it? Because that's what we want to take off their hands and put in our seat. Yeah.
So, like, on that note, while I was facilitating Amy's constellation yesterday, and she jumped up into the field,
right?
And that was the first time that's ever happened,
right.
And that's not kind of something that I didn't want to be like, what the hell are you doing? You're walking up the field,
right.
And it was, and you were.
This
like,
is a really good example of the permission thing. What smallest thing could you have done that would have made sense?
I don't know, because I was just like,
how about just going up and saying, "Hello, what's up?" And you can just say, "Wow, I'm kind of surprised. This has never happened to me." And she may be from a lineage where that happens all the time, right? And it just like it's like the really normal thing is just, "Hey, Amy, tell me what's up." That's it. And then she'll say, "I want to stand here," and I'm like, and then you get to choose.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, all these things, like, okay, seems like she's wanting to take the place of her own representative. Is this the right
so you
time
can't
for that?
know if you just ask.
I was just like,
just ask.
Okay.
She may have wanted to, stand next to a representative. Not Amy, probably, but a different client might be, I'm getting in the middle of this and I'm on the verge of taking charge, right? So you probably want to check in and just find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to just say, it functions best if we allow the representatives to represent rather than, can we draw boundaries or?
You can have your own approaches. I frequently, so this was happening last weekend. A client was standing up to get a better view. It's just a getting a better view move. And I said, that's great. Could you have a seat while you do that? Just so that they're not sort of in the circle.
Yeah.
Because when I bring a client in, I want that to be really intentional and really strong and really clear. And having them stand next to their own representative is often a useful move. I noticed other facilitators doing this and going, that's kind of cool.
Interesting.
It's a really
I've
interesting
never seen
move.
That before.
It's a really interesting move. I'll try and model that at some point.
Okay.
Sometimes when at the end, it feels like it would be useful to come in, but it would be too overwhelming to take their place completely.
Yeah.
It feels really friendly to connect with their representative who feels like there's like an aspect of self is supporting themselves. It's actually quite nice.
Anyway,
But
so,
if for any reason you had a rule about that, you could just,
Violation.
but again, pace. I just need to remind you, pace, lead, right? Pace, lead.
Right.
Amy did that with a lot of strength and a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
So if what you really wanted her to do was to sit down, you really have to pace and stay in rapport.
Yeah.
In whatever way you do that, right?
Yeah. If you had given me sort of a nudge to sit down, I would have been like, I'm not happy with that. I couldn't see.
But you knew.
Yeah.
Which is why you felt in a
Which is why I
dilemma.
didn't. Yeah.
And I think actually, given everything that we've heard, your decision to just let it go is not a bad choice.
It was not a bad choice.
Yeah, just let it go. I don't know what to do with it, but I know let it go and focus on other things.
Right.
It just,
Okay, so I want to move on.
I actually have a question based on the constellation we just
Let
did.
me finish this little teaching. My question, given that interaction then, the teaching I'm doing on that, is, so this is a question, I don't know, okay? My question is, so over there we had Jeff in the role of the desk. By the way, yes, when she said the desk, all of her meanings about that get into, if she's meaning the metaphor of the desk as described by Christina in the interview, she doesn't have to say all those words. The desk is fine shorthand. The field is smart enough to pick that up. But she does have to have the intention. She has to have the clarity around the intention, which I had every sense that she did. When she brought in the Jean B figure for what the desk cannot provide for her, she stayed solidly in that role the whole time. And I think your guys is wondering whether that's mom is absolutely correct. That's my guess. That's what Christina is needing, that the desk can't give. Huh? Right? And that it turns out to be a parent is nobody's surprise here. Right? Yeah. Okay, so let me just finish the thought. And I know I can feel it over in Christina, like, oh. So anyway, that sense of security, it's the breast, it's the nurture, it's all that attachment stuff, right?
Belonging.
Yeah, longing. This is why the question for me, if, she mentioned the Holocaust, if Guy was representing the dead of the Holocaust, then my question ended up being, is it up mom's side? That's what I whispered over here. Is it up mom's side? Gotten the answer to that. And then what we had was a perfect constellation, which is we got Christina out of the role of tending to this and mom in the proper role of tending to it, right? Because it's mom's, right? So this is all wondering. I don't know. I would, another 10 minutes and an opportunity to check in about the history and stuff like that might have resolved some of these questions. But the moment that Peter and Christina's role was feeling perpetrative towards the dead, what I know is that Christina's gotten entangled in a perpetrator energy, and all I really wanted to do was put somebody there and give it the name of whatever it is Christina's entangled with that doesn't belong to her. That's it. Now, it showed up on its own. I think it's mom.
Yeah.
Not mom per se. She's not the perpetrator, but she's wrapped up in the dynamic, right? Because obviously her mother is not the Nazis, right? Anyway, so, and this is all barring a thorough interview with Christina and checking all this stuff. But I just wanted to share that when Christina was put in the job of facilitator, or any of us, there's going to be a temptation here for her to get the facilitator to not disentangle her, to maintain the present situation. And hence, I want the desk in, it's really important, it needs a role here. I thought, Christina's probably, maybe, I'm wondering, pulling Arena into moving attention off of mom, which is what she really needs, back to the desk, which actually can't complete the need. Right? I'm like, we're right back there.
But the desk was the whole metaphor of security and safety.
That the desk cannot fulfill. That's the second half of the metaphor. The desk is the thing that is in the place of nurture and sustenance that can't do it, which is probably the mom as she was, right? As opposed to the mom we all want, right? The mom as we really, really, really want it. I'm going to let that rest in you, and if you need to chat with me during the lunch about any of this, because we're right in the space of Christina's stuff, right? Let me just check in with you. How are you doing right now? Yeah. This is the bind of the job. I keep on reaching for something better, and I keep on ending up with the job. Rats. So in this sense, not in a tidy way and not in a way that has landed fully in Christina's system yet, we actually have the constellation. At least 75% of it anyway. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, after lunch, we're going to have a little chance to process this if we need to. If we don't, that's fine. But I actually want to let people go to lunch because it's 1:20. And I think if we process it anymore, we'll over-process. Okay? Karina, how are you? Good. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Beautifully done.
What time want to be coming back?
Oh, yes, thank you. One, yeah, 3:50. Thank you, math people who are do this faster than I do. 2:50. 10 of 3 was what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. 2:50, that means sitting in the chair ready to go at 2:50. Thank you. Yes, sir. No, let me.
All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that right now. You're gonna have lunch. Good job, well done. Good. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't do some of that during the course of the day. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna check into it.
Okay. There's still like responsibility.
Check some other lines there. Oh. And you guys.
I'm looking for someone to go walking. Not eating, walking. Anyone who can walk?
Walking and eating.
I'm gonna go be alone.
What's that?
I was like, I'm gonna do lunch with everybody today, and I'm like,
Christina,
oh.
would it be good and yummy for you to sit over with me for a second?
Sit with you for a second, yeah.
I will eventually do lunch out with you guys.
You're gonna go walk?
We all need to eat.
Yeah.
How to take any of the feelings and double it.
I feel like I need
You feel deprived.
Yeah. Figuring it out.
That's good, baby.
I had attributed
Do you want to go?
security to an astro thing, and I did not connect it with another.
I think I'm gonna go for a walk a little
And how's that landing for you? How's it feeling?
Yeah, maybe I'll walk.
Obviously, it's moving something.
I didn't get food. Yeah.
But I guess it answered my question. Because this one felt like ignored or like left out, and it was part of the story, you know, and I felt like it's something I need still, you know. It's not like we're done with it, but I didn't see that the meaning of it had moved to another place.
When it hadn't even moved, as defined, the desk is the thing on which the need has been projected, but which, I mean, it's very clear what Arena was saying from the very beginning was, as she assigned that role, it's not what can provide it. Because she had, who was it? Peter? Was it Peter in your role? From a very early moment saying, you can't give me what I need. Yeah, as a healing sentence. So, yeah.
I guess I'm still looking for it there.
Yeah, because it's, you know, mom couldn't give it. So we gotta look for it somewhere. And we go back to the order of love where the facilitator shall be studied for back there. Right. So as long as the job is sort of the stand-in for all of that, it's gonna end up feeling like mom, the real limited mom. Right? Because the job can't give that to you. Yeah, all a job can do is give us all these other things like, you know, payment for the rent and make you feel creative and yummy and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think a job potentially can give a lot, but it's not the jobs I did lately.
Yeah, not the parental roles. Nothing, you know, mom is mom, dad is dad. So part of what's going on for you is that movement didn't get fully completed, right? So because of that, the attention is still going back to the thing you're hoping can fill it. Understandably, because we need it. We need it. That's like non-negotiable. Yeah. So how are you doing with that?
Yeah, it rings true.
How are you doing in your body?
Feels a little like, you know, heavy, like in my stomach. Just like, there's always so much shit to work through.
Oh. Are you hoping to do lunch with one of these human beings? Are you hanging out?
I was waiting
Offer?
to see, and yes.
Anybody want a burger? I
So
need
my
something
question to you
grounding.
as they're asking these questions is, I think that letting it sit, eat, nurture yourself, right, and meet some of the needs, and eating would be good. Is there something else that you would like? Is like being alone, being with people and not talking about it, being with people and talking about it? Probably not my first recommendation, but you get to do what you want
I could probably be alone.
for a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
And then let it move in you.
Yeah.
Let it just move in you a little bit. Because the next movement you can imagine in your mind's eye as your mother is saying, I have a place for you in my heart, and this belongs to me. The next movement is she moves to you and says, this was all I could see. But now I see you. And then after some really nice things that happen there, she says something along the lines, I would like you to have what you really want in your work.
And I think she does.
Of course she does.
Our relationship and both of us individually as people have like totally evolved a lot.
Yay.
From where we were when, we lived together. But it's like, it's the old mom.
Yeah, and it's the old you too.
Yeah.
Right? There's very little to be done about how intense the imprint of the first few years is. And we're still glad when things get better with our parents in adulthood. Like we see our friends for whom it does not, and we're sorry for them because it is better for us that it's gotten better. But there's still this younger child inside of us who's still managing that imprint, right? That attachment imprint.
And that's what I thought he was at first.
I actually thought so too.
Yeah.
I was thinking we were dealing with multiple aspects of your own identity, or I was hypothesizing.
Right.
I didn't
So
know,
was I.
whatever. But the more he reported out, the
Yeah.
more that was really, except to the extent that every aspect of every constellation is somehow internalized in a part in ourselves, right? Right? So if we have Holocaust history, we have an internal Nazi, we have an internal, massacred Jew. We have these parts of ourselves. They live inside of us. They're just, so in that sense, they're all aspects of our identity, right? The key is to move it out of managing it from a fight-flight place and find a place in our heart. This is part of my history. Rats. And Glorioski, aren't I glad to be dealing with crappy jobs rather than the Nazis knocking on the door?
Yeah.
Yay! It's just, and not in a simplistic, I should be happy for what I've got kind of a way, but in a genuine, I'm actually really glad that I have the challenges I have in a way that can feel robust.
But then how do I take something like this visual image of taking this need for security and safety that I ideally would have gotten from my mom but didn't, and so placed it on something else, and then I see more clearly where it should have been, then it's like, well, then what now? How do I break the cycle that I'm in, which brought me here to begin with?
So number one, it's a process. And number two, the basic stuff. Dear mother, thank you for all that you gave. I take it. I take what you could give. It's a process of being able to more and more take what our parents could give, as fully as possible. Now we can't just click our fingers. That's why we have constellations. We don't sit down and lecture our clients about this stuff, right? Because it doesn't, even if they believed us, it wouldn't have any impact on them systemically, right? So a little piece move, what this constellation nudged a little bit was your relationship with work. Right? It now can't quite satisfy the projection anymore as well as it once did. And it's going to leave you a little hungry for something that can do it better. Yeah? Now, one is just to slip it to like a boyfriend or to a, the other, like I said, you either work for it or you marry it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are other places we can project these things. Or it slips you in the direction towards another small step of taking from your mom.
Taking from her.
Yeah. Thank you for my life. I mean, I don't know where this would have gone, in the end, but you know the classic scenes, leaning against the mother's legs, thank you for my life, bowing to the mother. There are all these different moves.
I actually liked the just getting connected to the creativity.
That was
Even
awesome.
though there was separate, here's the mother and here's me. Maybe that was actually good to just disentangle.
Well, actually, no, this is just me hypothesizing. I don't know. I'd have to actually check it out in the constellation. But they had a thing that felt good, and it felt congruently good, not just like superficially good, right? So what if one of the gifts of that constellation was receiving something from your mother that shows up in your creativity? Like, yeah. Yeah. So your partner, I'm sorry, your representative felt like creativity was kind of a collaborator, which is a great word, right? Partner kind of bit. And then it felt really good when your mother and creativity were kind of looking at each other and seeing each other. And that felt good over here as well. And then you and creativity kind of went off and connected as your mother went off to deal with her stuff. So there's a separation from you and what is your mother's business, a little bit. So that's all really good. And the desk, which represents security, but can I give it to you, refused to come back in, even though you wanted it to. So that's good too. Like it all said, like this feels like the constellation for you. Could it have been tidier with different facilitation? Sure, but that's not what, we're here for messy facilitation. And I really think where it ended was exactly where it really needed to end, just because I think we need to honor and respect what a big shift that this is for you. I don't even want to kick you into resolution, because it would bounce off anyway. I just really think it's respectful of you going, whoa, really? What? No. And it's like, yeah, that's a big one. That's a big leap. Yeah,
Right.
That's a really honor and respectful of, like I was saying before, what was the sentence? We only help as much as the client and system can currently integrate in what is available to be seen. Right? Be really kind of respectful of that. And the tears that are showing up that showed up when you were in the interview, these are the same set of tears. It's something you want so much, and it's so deep in the heart. Yeah. And you will accept no substitutes. And that's great. That's perfect. And so the sadness belongs to you, and it's part of your dignity. Like anything other than sadness right now would be a really odd response. Okay.
One more.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll get lunch.
Yeah, I am too. I'm just sitting with it a little bit and just feeling the whole like just really bowing in respect to you and what you're chewing on here and what you brought to the group to see. And the trickiness of this stuff. And I encourage you, in addition to eating, actually taking a walk as well, just so you can do some left brain, right brain reintegration, feel it in your body a little bit, drop out trying to figure it out too much, and then come back and let's see what's what.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay.
What did we say? 10 to 3?
Yeah. So an hour and 10 minutes now.
All right.
I'm gonna pee because I have to pee.
Yeah.
No, we're all needing to take care of our bodies.
So I'm gonna lock this door so when you leave, you won't be able to come back, but I'm gonna be back in just a couple to pee.
Okay, no problem.
Turn this off.